If you are learning English through YouTube or using YouTube videos to enhance your English, I am sure you have come across videos such as common idioms, business English idioms, idioms you need for daily conversation. Idioms are a widely taught subject. Students like them, most teachers like teaching them, and they're an interesting kind of humorous aspect to the English language. But realistically, they are not used as often as teachers like to tell you that they are. And if you have been a subscriber of mine for a long time, you will know I start every idioms video explaining why I don't like to teach idioms. Something that are much more commonly used than idioms are metaphors. Metaphors. And in today's video, I want to go through 10 metaphors that are often used in business English. Maybe you know some of them already, have heard them used often at work, but are not always quite sure what they mean. Or maybe some of these are completely new and you can start adding them to your presentations, your emails, and even your workplace conversation. Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm a business English teacher. I teach intermediate to advanced level students, and I create a lot of videos about interview practice, improving your workplace English, and of course, all the basics like grammar, understanding rules in English. So I definitely recommend subscribing if you are trying to go from that B1, B2 to C1, C2 level. Now, first of all, it is important that we understand the difference between an idiom and a metaphor. So an idiom is a group of words that a certain group or nationality or culture of people use to express a feeling or situation. And of course, every language will have its own kind of idioms, and they will be understood by everyone in that language as meaning a particular thing. But they are often completely unrelated to the topic or to the words being said, and often makes a point that is different to what is actually being said. Whereas a metaphor is a statement that compares two things and compares a similarity between two things. So they aren't alike otherwise, but with this one thing, they are very similar. They could be described as being similar. For example, a very common English idiom is, "It's raining cats and dogs." Now, of course, it is not raining cats and dogs. It never has done. So this sentence doesn't make a lot of sense, but native English speakers have an understanding of what this means. It's raining very hard. However, a flood of tears, she was crying floods of tears, or he was in floods of tears, meaning someone is crying so much it's like a flood. So you are comparing the amount of water in a flood to the amount of water that is coming out of this person's eyes. You're comparing their tears to a flood. So the sentence makes sense. It's directly talking about something within the sentence. We mention tears, whereas the idiom is just an applied understanding. Idioms are more kind of used for a particular age group or for humorous situations or creative writing. But metaphors are used daily in every situation, in casual, informal, in professional situations, with your friends, with your family, with strangers. Metaphors are used much more often. And why would we want to use metaphors in business English? Well, metaphors help capture attention because it's emphasizing something. Metaphors can also create connections with other people. So if I say this is like this, I'm recognizing that everyone in the room knows both of those things and can see the comparison, can see the similarities. Metaphors can also make complex ideas more simplified. So in that last example I gave you, instead of saying she was crying so much she couldn't stop, she was in floods of tears. I'm simplifying it, and you can understand from my metaphor, by my metaphor, that this person was really crying. They were really upset about something, a complex idea or feeling. So they're a nice thing to use throughout your business English, and especially if you are giving presentations, they can draw the attention of your audience, and kind of add a break in between statistics or numbers or data. So our first one today is time is money. Time is money. Now, this is used often, not just in the business world, but by anyone really, because what it means is time is valuable. Money is valuable. Money has a value, and so does time. So, in another sense, you shouldn't waste your time. You could use this to demonstrate that you don't have a lot of time, or let's say you need to end a call early because you have another meeting you need to attend. You could kind of make a joke with the people on the call and say, I need to go, you know how it is, time is money. Or if you're setting up a meeting, I can meet you at 5 p.m., but unfortunately I have to leave at 5:30 because I have somewhere else I have to be. Time is money. Or in a more serious situation, let's say you are spending too long on a project that doesn't need that much time. Your boss, your manager, your co-workers might say to you, don't forget time is money. So your time is valuable. Your time is worth something. So similarly, this next one, buy some time, to buy some time. So as we said, time is money. Time costs money. So to buy some time does not mean you want to buy some of someone's time. No, that's not what it means. It means you want to extend the amount of time you have on something. You want to purchase more time. So let's say, for example, you have a project due on Friday. The client is waiting for you, but unfortunately some things have happened that were out of your control and it's not going to be finished by Friday. You could go about this in two ways. So the first, you wouldn't say this to the client, but you might say to your boss, I'll call them today and see if I can buy us some time. And again, you would not say that to the other person because to buy time suggests you're running out of time and you need more, which doesn't look very professional. It looks like you have not controlled your time well. You have not prioritized well. But you might call them and you might chat to them about some new ideas or provide a more discounted option, and you give them 3 or 4 days to make a decision. This would buy you some time because you have those extra 3 or 4 days on top of your original deadline. Similarly, you could say, the deadline is on Friday. However, I have a very close relationship with the CEO and I have managed to convince him to come in and visit us Friday morning, which should buy us some more time because he will be here in person and he will see how much we've accomplished and I can let him know it will be finished by next Monday. So in that scenario, because you are inviting the CEO to come and talk to you, chat to you, see the work, have a one-on-one personalized relationship with that person, this might put you in their good books and might buy you some more time, give you more time. Or what often happens with some of my students is I'm running a little late, but I haven't told them that yet because I'm hoping to be at the lesson on time. And I receive a message from one of them saying, I need to pick up my child from school, or I'm just finishing an email, or some important documents I need to photocopy first before the lesson. I'll be 10 minutes late. I can say, that has bought me some time because I have an extra 10 minutes to get home before the student is expecting the lesson. So in any situation where you get more time given to you, you can describe it as buying time. You have bought some more time for yourself. Worth waiting for. Something is worth waiting for. You may know this one because it's used quite often. And it's used about a variety of different things. You could be talking about an event, a holiday, a job opportunity, a relationship, a friendship. You can talk about anything as worth waiting for. But as we discussed, time is money, so time has value. So when you buy something, you say, was it worth it? Did the cost of the item match up to how much you used the item, how much value the item brought to your home, to your life. For example, electric cars. So we know that electric cars are much better for the environment, but you also have to live near somewhere where you can charge your car. If you do not live near somewhere where you can charge your car, you might say it wasn't worth it to buy the car because you actually have to drive further than you would normally in order to charge the car. Same if you buy a new t-shirt and after 2 weeks, it's ruined. You cannot wear it anymore. It's see-through and it has holes in it. It would be not worth it. So something worth waiting for means the value of the item itself is more than the value of the time spent waiting for the item, so it's worth the wait. For example, let's say you and your business partner are going to a meeting. This is a brand new client. You believe they'll be very interested in your product, but unfortunately your business partner is running 20 minutes late because his child was sick, or he's stuck in traffic, or he had another meeting he's just come from. You could say to your client, I'm really sorry, my business partner's going to be 20 minutes late, but I promise you it's worth the wait. Meaning, I promise what we are going to show you, the product we want to demonstrate, is worth more than the value of these 20 minutes. Perhaps a new coffee shop has opened on your corner and they do coffee in a very interesting, different way. So the queue is huge. There's a line of 50 people outside. And you wait in this line to order your coffee. You wait an hour. You get to the front, you order your coffee, and it's not nice. The coffee is bitter, the milk is off, it's too sweet, whatever. The coffee is not nice. In that situation, you would say it was not worth waiting for because the hour you spent waiting does not add up to the value of the coffee itself. All dried up, all dried up. Now, I'm not sure the origin of this metaphor. The literal meaning of it is when money, paper money, is wet, or used to be wet, because now, of course, it's being made with a plastic coating. So the old paper money, when it would get wet, would be ruined. And when it dried, it would be wrinkled and you could tell that it had been wet and it wouldn't look as nice. So it was all dried up. It looked like it had been wet and dried and now it doesn't look attractive. It doesn't look as valuable. However, when we use all dried up as a metaphor, what we are saying is there's no more money, no more funds, no more budget. This can be in a particular currency or, in general, the company is all dried up. It has no money, no funds. If you're on the marketing team for a business and you ask for a new campaign and you have a really good idea of an advert that is going to get a lot of new sales, a lot of new interest, and you go to your manager and pitch this idea, hey, I have a fantastic marketing idea. And your manager says, it is fantastic, but unfortunately, our budget for marketing is all dried up this year. The budget for marketing is empty. There's nothing left. Or perhaps you need help at work. And you ask, would it be possible to hire somebody else to help me so I can split my jobs 50-50? You're a small team and you have more jobs than you can actually do in 1 week. Our budget for hiring new people is all dried up. Or our funds are all dried up, meaning there is no more money for hiring. To float alone, to float alone. Now, to be honest, I'm not really sure why this is a metaphor because it's no easier or quicker than saying to get a loan. This is what this means, is to take out or get a loan from the bank. You've run out of money, you're all dried up, and you take out a loan from the bank. But I have a feeling the reason we say float alone instead of just get or take out a loan is because the image of water with something floating on top of it is a very strong image. Water is a strong element. So it's almost like this point of survival for the company. You need to take out the loan in order to survive, in order to float on the water. So you might hear people say, we need to float a loan, or could we float a loan? Or perhaps our solution is to float a loan, and it just means take out, get a loan. Liquidity of assets. Now, this is a bit complicated because there's multiple parts to this. So your assets are anything you own that has a value. So for example, if you own property, that's not money that you have, but you could sell that property to make money. If you have a car, that is an asset. You could sell that car to make money. If you have two businesses, of course, they are not money, but you could sell them to make money. So an asset is anything you own that has some sort of financial value. So often when we talk about rich people, very, very rich people, we don't say they have this much money. We say they have this value in assets, because very wealthy people do not go around giving out cash all the time and carrying cash with them, but they buy investments to keep in their name. So that is an asset. Now, liquidity, we describe an asset as liquid because of how easy it is to turn into cash. For example, you could sell a house tomorrow and have that money. It's turning an asset to cash. We all know it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy to make money, otherwise we wouldn't be here trying to improve our English. But this is the idea, that it's as easy as flowing water. It's as easy as liquid. Sell something, you get money for it. When we talk about the liquidity of assets or liquidation, a company is going into liquidation. What we mean is they are not doing so well, so they need to sell some of their assets to raise cash to continue the company or buy more stock. You might be having a conversation with someone about a new business venture, and they say, well, I could liquidate some of my assets, which would give you the cash to start this business venture, meaning I could sell some of my assets to get the cash in my hands and invest in your business opportunity. It's turning properties, businesses, ownership of something into money that you can use to either save your business or start a new venture for some reason. To keep one's head above water. Now, this is very interesting because, again, we're going with the water idea. So someone, some scholar, some philosopher back when businesses were started obviously liked the idea of a business being very similar to water. To keep your head above water. Now, imagine you've fallen in the water. The only way you can survive this situation is by swimming, is by keeping your head out of the water. If your head goes underwater, unfortunately, you will not live to see tomorrow. But if you swim, if you force yourself to stay up, eventually someone might come and help you. So in business, it's the same thing. It means you're close to closing or close to having to destroy the business for some reason, or close down the business, or liquidate your assets. But keeping your head above water in business means you're doing just enough to stop that from happening. You're very close to it, but it hasn't happened yet. For example, we're barely keeping our heads above water at the moment. I don't think taking out another loan is a good idea because we will be in more debt. So we're barely surviving, making money, making profit as it is. So why take out another loan and increase our debts? It's not a positive thing. However, if you looked back and said, during 2020, during the pandemic, we barely kept our heads above water, but I'm so glad we pushed through, because look at us now, we're making more profit than we ever did. So during that time, you barely survived. You just did enough as a company to survive. But now you're so much more successful. You have so many more customers, clients, so much more profit than you did back in 2020. To go under. Now, as I'm reading these, I realize I'm talking very negatively about business. I should have reviewed my script before this video today, because I seem to only be talking about negative sides of business, not successful sides of business. However, I do have a second part to this video, 10 more metaphors for you, and they will be more positive. So bear with me today. To go under, to go under. So think again of that image above water. To go under, of course, means to not survive anymore. The business does not survive anymore. During 2020 and 2021, a lot of businesses went under, meaning they had to close because they no longer made profit or they could no longer succeed. We need one more client this year in order to avoid going under. The business's target for the year is here, and we are currently one client below the target. If we do not get that one client, we do not reach our target and therefore might be closed down or have to close. Whatever the scenario is, to go under is a metaphor for closing the business, losing the business. Wage freeze, wage freeze. Now this one makes sense from the words it's made of. To freeze something means to keep it still, keep it exactly as it is in that moment and not change anything. Think of an ice cream. You put it in the freezer so it stays an ice cream. If you leave it outside the freezer, it becomes a puddle of water. If a company announces it is having a wage freeze, or let's try and think positively here, a company ends a wage freeze, or your competitor has a wage freeze. What this means is the pay of every single individual will be frozen. It won't go up, but it won't go down. It will stay exactly as it is. This could be for a limited amount of time, 1 year, 2 years, or it could be indefinitely. Wages will be frozen until the company does better. And it just means, as I said, salary, wages do not go up, do not go down. They stay exactly as they are. Now, initially, this sounds like a positive thing, doesn't it? But if your company renews salaries every year and you get a 5% pay rise every year, you suddenly don't get that pay rise anymore. You just get what you are on now, but for the same amount of work. If Google was to announce that they were having a wage freeze, that would suggest to us, people that don't work at Google, that they're not doing so well. They can't afford to pay their employees. So they are not doing as well as they did last year or the last 5 years. And my last one for you today, cash flow. So again, with the water metaphors, flowing of water. Water comes in, water goes out. Money comes in, money goes out. The cash flow means exactly that. So the money coming in, your revenue, and your money going out, your expenses. Do you have the cash flow projections for next year? Meaning, how much money do you predict is going to come in, and also how much money is going to go out? Can you talk to me a bit about your cash flow? So again, how much money comes in and how much money goes out. It's not just profits or losses, but it's together. How much do you spend yearly? How much do you earn yearly? So those are my 10 business metaphors for you. I hope some of those were useful, helpful. Maybe you've heard some of them before. As I said, I will be doing a second part to this, and it will be a bit more positive, a bit more about success in business. So watch out for that. That should be next week. Or if you are watching this in the future, it will already be up on my channel. Thank you everyone for watching, liking, supporting. I hope you have a fantastic week and a good day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.